The initial question is, how do we work with young kids, and how do we, is there anything we can do to improve on what we were taught? And the arm weight school and the finger action school that keeps the eraser on the wrist, and the pressure school, and the Russian school says press the keyboard to get a big rich sound, and there are all these actually contradictory schools. And there's the rotation that Dorothy Taubman was specialized in, and using a little bit of rotation on every single note you have. So I'm a Feldenkrais practitioner. Feldenkrais method analyzes the structure and the function of the human body, and analyzes ways to use the skeletal system more efficiently. So any truly efficient movement will be perceived as effortless. So the effort we bring to a movement is generally from over-contracting certain muscles, trying too hard. Well, why would those muscles have to try too hard? Because other muscles aren't keeping the bones in a nice alignment, so like one part of my hand is falling, so all these muscles in the arm have to tense more. But if certain muscles here work just a little bit to keep the hand from falling, then all these muscles can let go. So Feldenkrais method analyzes those things for the whole body: standing, walking, running, sitting. And so it's the idea of function. So why not imagine the hand as a mini body, where with an ankle and a knee and a hip joint, and then the pelvis, and then a torso, a spinal column. And so then we're all taught to drop the arm onto the key, to relax. So unfortunately, we're taught to do that generally in a way where the hand's hip joint lets go, right? Because we're relaxed. So we end up playing like this. And for me, that's like asking somebody to walk down the street like this. The hip joints are constantly, and who would walk like that? Then there's this other question. That's another central theme, is the question of development. So a baby crawls around for a year. Moshe Feldenkrais, he analyzed, his wife was a pediatrician, and he had a chance to analyze the way movement develops in infants. And he said, we do not learn to walk by walking. We learn to walk by developing a whole series of internal body functions, movement functions, which precede the very complex act of walking. So for instance, the first thing the baby does is raise their head. So when you raise your head, your spine is moving into extension. Well, of course, extending the spine, that's necessary to standing up. So then there's the flexion and extension of the hip joints and of the arms. And it's very, very complex. And the baby has a whole year apprenticeship to do all that before they even walk for the first time. And then the baby walks like this. And how long do you think it takes before the child develops fully well-organized adult walking, like the way our walking is organized in adulthood? How long do you think?
3 years.
3 years?
2?
2?
I was going to say more like
Laura?
3 or 4.
3 or 4? 7.
7.
The child, they've done all these, there are actually gait conferences, gait as G-A-I-T, the way you walk. There are entire conferences of scientists totally devoted to just studying gait. Can you imagine? It's unbelievable.
You mean the way kids walk?
Yeah, well, the way adults walk, the way we run, the way athletes do it, all aspects of gait. So they've discovered that at age 7, the pelvis in walking moves in a very complicated sort of figure 8, flat figure 8, 3-dimensional figure 8. And there's some certain cultures where, of course, it's more visible, but mostly it's not that visible, but it's there. And the kids go through many further evolutions after they start to walk to get to that point where they can walk fully evolved. So what do we do to our kids on the piano? Day 1, stand up, walk. No year-long development of the hand's capacity for flexion and extension, no sensing of the hand's belly on the keys, no getting to know this thing before you have to manipulate it. And then we wonder, why are we stiff? You know, why do we have technical problems? But we just totally avoid this whole apprenticeship. So speaking from, looking at things from the point of view of function, well, first you lie down, then you creep, commando crawling, and then you maybe walk on all fours, and eventually you'll come to stand, and eventually you may even start to walk. But if you have that sensory apprenticeship, then you're going to not have these problems, this stiffness, this awkwardness,